think we did.
Hello and welcome to the Temple Mount Podcast. My name is Shogun. This is another episode in our ongoing World of Darkness campaign. I believe this is like episode 14 already. A lot of people are listening along at home on YouTube and BitChute, Temple Mount official Discord server and podcast channels. Check it out. Join the game. Join the server. That being said, please give us our introductory scripture quotation, Mr. Clark.
So 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 10. But the day of the Lord will come like a thief, in which the heavens will pass away with a roar, and the elements will be destroyed with intense heat, and the earth and its works will be discovered.
The word of the Lord. That being said, welcome Sid Rogers, the Changeling, Callan Clark, the Ventrue, Nash Westergaard, the Gangrel, Shadviano Feroth, the Tremere, and Lucy Fairbrook of Clan Toreador. Who would like to give us a recap of their last session first?
I can give my part.
Thank you.
So Callan woke up to some dreams that were quite vivid, almost as if re-experiencing some of the battles in the previous wars that he's fought, as if he was there presently. Hadn't had quite a lucid dream in quite some time. He gets up and he addresses his herd, which is made up of essentially mortal predators, preying on the weak and the innocent and those who can't defend themselves. After he leaves them, he goes and meets up with Lucy Fairbrook, Shad, and we have a new character. I can't quite remember his name off the top of my head.
Nash Westergaard, the Gangrel.
Nash. So I meet up at the Pyramid Club, and the nightclub, and that's where we run into Nash. But we have some exchanging of money for drugs with Sarah Fairbrook. I think Sarah and Lucy spoke for a little while, and then Shad and I kind of discussed a few things that the sheriff spoke with me about, as far as the Whip of Cascadia City, which is essentially the enforcer of the prince, being released to deal with those non-subordinates in Cascadia City who are not being loyal to the Ivory Tower, though supposedly should be. So we gave an update to Shad about that, considering he's had some questionable activity. We were informed that the Brujah in the northern city are declared anarchs. They need to be dealt with, and any Sabbat we come across need to be exterminated if possible. And though the Setites are known for sinister moves that they're making, for reasons that were unrevealed to my character, we need to leave them be for now. Diplomacy should be used with the Setites still, if able. We decided that we would go as a party, including Nash, to the north side of town and see if we could run into any of these Brujah. And specifically, there was one we were looking for that I think Shad has had an encounter with, but we did not come across him. However, we did meet up with 3, I believe, with like bikers of a gang that we knew to be associated with the Brujah. So Shad cast a spell to have one of the bikes malfunction, and upon sight, when they saw us, they pulled out weapons and we got into a fight. We did end up slaying the 3 of them and destroying their bodies with fire. And Callan took one of the jackets of the bikers and one of the blades, the knives that one of the opponents had, and stabbed the jacket covered in blood to one of the nearby walls with that sword, or that knife, excuse me, as kind of a message that the insubordination and things like that are not going to be tolerated by the Ivory Tower and the Camarilla. That was the end of my experience.
Thank you. Nash, can you add anything to the narrative?
Oh, not too much. After my run-in with Litu in Wildwood Park, I had gone to sleep, using Earth Meld with, camouflage over my bike. And so the next night is when the session started, I got on my bike and I was looking around for kindred in the city. I was looking around for nightclubs or lines or any kind of party, that's quick and easy to get a fix of blood and drugs. And eventually I came upon Cascadia campus, and there was all kinds of psychedelic music, and people had a bunch of dilated pupils, and, I quickly drank several points of blood from one intoxicated young lady outside, and, I went inside to talk some more or look around, and apparently I was laced with ecstasy, Molly, from the one lady I drank from, and, there's like 3 DJs on the stage, they're all doing their stuff, and I finally found some fellow kindred. There was this lady with pink hair and this younger-looking guy with almost, silvery hair, and then this other detective-looking guy, and kind of fell in with them. And next thing you knew, we were heading out to the docks to go beat up Brujah, and that Shad guy, he used some kind of ritual machine blitz to stop on their motorcycles, and we had a little rumble. And we just finished off that rumble, and I had to heal myself for 5 points of damage. So I'm like at half blood already. So yeah, that's all that I did.
Thank you. I guess we'll have Shad go next.
Shad met the party at the party held by the Children of Ecstasy and the Techno, what were they called?
Virtual Adepts.
The Virtual Adepts in the City Quad. He was acting a bit strangely and speaking kind of in half questions to various members of the party, but when it came time to execute the Camarilla's orders, the whole party went down to the docks and killed some ghouls. Unfortunately, they didn't end up being kindred during that battle. Shad did take some damage. It's all blunt damage, so he will recover naturally after a short period of time. But the party now stands with 2 motorcycles dumped in the ocean, a big party busted up, and 3 dead Brujah motorcycle gang ghouls dead.
Thank you. And finally, Lucy Fairbrook. Is there any details that you can add to the story?
From my character's POV, some details of her own experience when she was waking up at the beginning of that session. She had dreams that were different than she had normally had, which were peaceful ones, or seemingly, where she was on this beach with palm trees. It was night and the moon was out. She sees like a ladder of light going up to the moon kind of thing. I can see like a person up there, can't tell the gender. It's got like a white robe and glowing, and people are climbing up the ladder to it, and some people fall off and like die or whatever. But essentially she meets the party at the event at the school's quad, and she ends up drinking from somebody also who had been partaking in drugs, some Molly, that her sister had offered to her. So she is in more of an emotional state and a little bit more receptive, so she's more transparent with the people around her. But eventually they go to the docks to look for gangrels, or not gangrels, but the Brujah, and end up finding a couple of bikers, and she tried to disarm one, failed. She disarmed one the second try, and watched Shad maniacally throw bikes into the water. Yep.
Alright. Well, thank you. Meanwhile, Sid Rogers, the Changeling, has been stuck in the dreaming for the entire last session, so we might as well begin with his experience. So, Mr. Rogers...
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
My internet is dying. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, not really. Not really. I'm gonna, if you want to start with someone else, I'm gonna try and fix this.
All
You're
right,
the last
then.
one left, buddy.
So, well, yeah, he wasn't here last session, but in any case, the party is at the docks in the aftermath of the lethal conflict with the Bruja biker ghouls. And it is approximately, 1:30 a.m., we'll say. And there's been a storm front that's blown in again, so there's clouds and rain and thunder, which possibly helps wash away some of the evidence of the violence. But you and the party are all united, so I guess, what would you like to do? The rain dissipates the remaining partiers.
I believe Shad had mentioned somebody. Shad, what was his name? One of the Bruja you've had a tussle with that we should probably track down.
Yes, this is Bruja Domain here at the ports. And Dale claims to be the leader of this revolution, or at least one of the higher ups. We should search the warehouses here and see if we can find any traces of their organization. They're not the type to likely keep notes, but maybe we can find something useful, a phone or records on a computer, maybe even a stash of drugs or weapons that would point us in the right direction.
I like the way you think. That's right up my alley.
So this is just a storyteller reminder, but as you're discussing Bruja, Lucy Fairbrook remembers encountering a Bruja in a drug house of sorts from which she rescued Sid Rogers, so she does have that particular location. She still knows where that is. As just something to think about. But at the same token, you can investigate or go about your search in any way you want.
With that magical hint that just popped into her head like a crazy download of Auspex or whatever, Lucy looks at the two. You know, I originally rescued Sid from a house that, I don't know, maybe it's like 5-10 blocks from here. It's a little bit further away from the docks, but it seemed like one of those locations that is a hot spot for the Bruja, if you guys are interested. But we can look around here if you guys still want to.
Let's not waste any time.
I'm gonna quickly look around. Does it look like there's any easy prey from the people that were partying on the docks?
Well, because of the thunderstorm that has blown in and the intense rain, most people have run either inside of buildings or into the overhangs in front of buildings to shelter from the rain. However, there is one drunk person passed out against some crates that seems to have been left behind, who's sleeping or unconscious anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over there and bite him on the neck.
All right. So, concealed to some extent by the heavy downpour of rain and the darkness, you feed on the unconscious man lying against the crates on the docks. You can take as many blood points as you choose to.
I'm gonna take 3 out of him.
All right. You ingest 3 points of blood, but you can also tell that this man had quite a high alcohol content in his blood, so you can sort of feel like a fiery sensation of alcohol mixed with the blood, and you're gonna suffer like a -1 to 2 roll on like dexterity and intelligence rolls for the next like couple hours.
Okay.
So you conclude your feeding, and I'll presume you seal the wound with the lick, and decide to do what as a group?
I head towards my bike, kind of motioning the group to follow.
Yep,
Like Shad said,
him.
let's not waste time. And she gets on our bike. Also grateful that it's raining, so now all the blood from the other people they killed is washing off of her.
All right, he'll jump on the back of Nash's bike.
Yep,
Like last
already
time.
got it fired up.
Same.
So you guys are traveling on 2 motorcycles, or do you also have a truck with you? I can't remember.
There's no
Just
truck.
motorcycles.
Just bikes.
2 motorcycles. All right.
Truck
So you
is in
double.
Utah.
You double up on the motorcycles and you follow Lucy Fairbrook, whose keen memory, spatial memory, makes it easy for her to remember where she rescued Sid from and where she had the conversation with the Bruja, who she made the deal with, that they would be assisted against the Sabbat. But regardless, if you didn't already know that you were in the right area, you start passing graffiti, not only of the various gangs that you know to be affiliated with the Bruja, but actually with the upside-down anarchy symbol that is the Bruja clan symbol. You see is tagged on the walls here and there, indicating that you're at least in the right general area. You all get soaked in the rain, but nevertheless, you shortly arrive in front of the house that Lucy remembers, which had graffiti on it, the front of it as well. It has a garage, and it's like a small white house, no fence, and all the windows, the blinds are drawn, blackout blinds. There seems to be someone standing outside of the door, wearing a black leather jacket, black bandana, familiar aesthetic of the bikers here, leather patch, and he's standing by the door smoking a cigarette.
Lucy shuts off her bike.
Same.
I'll hop off.
I get off the bike as well, kind of looking at the group, as she's not really one to approach because she knows that we are here to kill them. And
Is this the place?
she nods her head. Yep, this is it.
I'm gonna shout out to the guy like, "Hey, bro, you got a cigarette I can bum?" As I'm walking towards him.
So he kind of turns in surprise, and you see his hand kind of like naturally or instinctively move towards his right hip and kind of rest there, but he doesn't like draw a weapon, nor does he respond. He's just like looking at you.
I'll walk up and toss him one of the bags, small or like a personal sized dose of the fentanyl that I got earlier in the evening, and I'll say, I'm looking for Dale.
He says, "And who the fuck are you?"
I'm just here to have a good time, and I heard Dale may have some work for someone with my specialties.
He says, "Who told you Dale was here?" And he kind of like crosses his arms and like skeptically looks at you, kind of puffs his chest out.
Yeah, I'm fairly well connected, and I know Dale frequents this area.
He says, "Well, I don't think he's expecting you." And then he puts his hand on his holster of his gun and pulls out like a revolver and kind of cocks his left elbow to the side and aims it sort of downwards towards like your belly. And he's like, "I'm not that stupid. We know what's going on in the city right now. There's been bloodshed. Nobody's just walking in out of the streets in this rain looking to do some business at this hour of the night."
I'm gonna attempt to make a dominate roll on this guy if I can.
Okay.
Let's see here.
Roll your dominate.
Manipulation plus intimidation.
Difficulty will be 7.
Okay. Cool. Manipulation and... let's see. Intimidation. 6 difficulty 7. Success. 2 successes.
And what is it that you're trying to dominate this person into doing?
I'm gonna look at him and I'm gonna say the word silence.
Okay. Well,
So he should be unable to speak at that point.
well, he goes silent and shuts his mouth and looks at you. And doesn't make any sound. But he's still got his gun pointed at you.
Okay. I don't know if anybody else wants to make an action before I do anything else, but give some other opportunities out, I guess.
I don't know. I was just walking up to him. I don't know if you guys want to do anything before I get to him.
I'm sticking back.
All right. Well, then I'll try to disarm him as well. If he's,
I mean, I'm not going to give too many like storyteller like hints or whatever, but you could potentially have made him like drop his gun or something like that instead of making him silent.
Yeah, I can only give one word command, so it's kind of hard to. Some things are tough.
Disarm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Something like that,
Regardless.
that's what I was
Right.
So in that case, make a dexterity plus brawl roll.
All right. Cool. What's the difficulty?
Anyone, do you know Nash? The difficulty for the disarm technique?
thinking. Oh,
Wasn't it
who's doing disarm?
It was +1, wasn't it? It's 7, right?
Yeah, it's 7.
All right. Let's try this again. All right. I
Wait,
succeeded.
who's doing the disarm?
I am.
Mr. Clark is.
So
Alan Clark.
one success, one critical success.
All right. So as he's sort of taken aback by the effect of your dominate and momentarily stunned, you seize the opportunity to grab his gun grabbing him by the wrist and twisting the pistol out of his hand, successfully wrenching it out of his grip. And he immediately responds with violence to this and swings a right hook at your face.
Okay.
So he's going to roll to attack. He's going to do dice roll. I don't know what the difficulty is. He's making an unarmed attack. So I'll just say the difficulty is 6. And the pool will be his strength, which I'm going to say is 4, plus his brawl, which I'm going to say is 3. So he's going to have a pool of 7.
Yeah, it should just be a regular 6 if it's just a regular strike.
Right. So he gets 4 successes, so he manages to punch you square in the jaw. Now, as for his damage, is that going to be like 1d10, or how does that work? Not going to be 1d10 damage.
Well, how much strength does he have? Do you have any stat blocks for these guys, or?
Strength of 4 is what I said.
Okay, then yeah, you just roll the 4
4
plus
dice.
1, 2, 3, 4. You roll 8 with a DC of... Where's he trying to hit on Callan?
Punch him in the
jaw.
face.
Then it'll be plus 2 difficulty. So he'll have difficulty 8, and then he'll roll 8 dice.
Pool of 8. Thank
8
you.
and 8.
88. MK88. Alright, so you take 2 critical damage, so we'll... minus 1 critical failure, so we'll say you take 3 blunt damage.
Okay.
You can attempt to soak it, however.
Yeah, I'll try to soak. I got 1 fortitude and 2 dex.
Okay. It's stamina and fortitude.
Oh, stamina? Stamina.
Yeah.
3. I got 3 stamina and 1
All right.
fortitude.
Alright, then roll your 4.
4 with a difficulty of what, 6 or 7 or what?
Yeah, it's always 6.
6.
Generally.
I soaked 2 of the 3.
Okay, so you take 1 blunt damage to the head, so it, hurts and busts your lip, but doesn't do any substantial damage. And that was his action, so technically I suppose you guys should roll initiative, or you can simply...
We can say my
your
action's
action.
gone and his is gone and go to these guys, whatever.
So you just do initiative roll.
But at the same time, like if someone thinks of an action their character wants to take that isn't necessarily a combat action, you could just declare that at any time during combat and be like, I say this, or I try and do that.
While they're
Regardless.
fighting, can I scope out the house?
Yeah, what do you mean by that exactly? Just look it over or go around it?
I'm gonna go around it
Okay, so
with
You
my
take it-
high aspects.
I guess, roll stealth plus dexterity to try and
Right.
sneak around without being seen.
Go.
So, with Dominate, if I've already succeeded once, do we do it for each individual command? Is that what we're going to do?
Well, yeah,
Okay.
you'd have to.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fine.
What's the?
We'll just say the difficulty is 6 right now.
Okay, cool. Ooh. One's a success.
One
Did you
success.
roll your initiative, Lucy?
Huh?
Did you roll your initiative?
No.
Do slash dice initiative, add your dex and wit.
I didn't know we were
Yeah,
doing initiative stuff. I was
Like
dissociating.
I said, right, if it's a combat action, then you guys will roll initiative. But if someone has an idea, like I want to try and do this or that, you could just say that in this case and do it. So I'm not requiring her to. I'm not requiring her to roll initiative to
I'm
begin.
not fighting. Yeah.
You're taking advantage of the chaos of the fight to sneak around the left side of the building, and so you successfully do that. And basically, you see or hear some people talking. You smell tobacco smoke, and you can hear like clinking glass of like bottles from the back, and therefore you can tell as you sneak around the side of the house. Although all the windows are closed and dark, you can hear that there's some people outside the back door, possibly, talking and drinking.
Nice. I'm gonna go ahead and sneak back to the front.
All right, well, we'll go back to the people who are still in front. So that would be Nash and Shad. Do you guys want to take actions?
Yep, Shad, you had a higher initiative. Are you going?
I take out the gun that I took from whomever at the docks, and I shoot him.
Okay, where do you aim? Center mass or head?
Well, like higher DC to shoot at the head, right?
Yeah.
I guess I'll point at his head anyway. Why not?
What kind of gun do you have?
I don't know. Like, was it a revolver?
It was a Glock.
You guys got Glocks if you took them from the guys at the docks. Glocks at the docks.
How do I roll that?
Dexterity plus firearms. With a difficulty of 7. I guess it's supposed to be difficulty of 6.
Oh no. Botched.
Alright, well the gun jams, and it fails to fire at all.
Alright, well I'm going to go up, use a point of blood to grow my claws, and then I'm going to try to slash him in the throat.
You activate the Gangrel Discipline of Protean and the power inherent in your canine blood to extend your predatory vampire claws and slash at the man as the combat continues.
Now, for the difficulty for his throat, do you want me to do 8 or 6?
For his throat,
Mm-hmm.
we'll just call it 7, split the difference.
Okay, cool. That works for me. Okay, I did 3 successes, so let me roll. So I do 2. Oh wait, how do you count these criticals? So I have 2 criticals.
Well,
Yeah, are we
you can
just
say
counting criticals as great successes, or are we counting them as 2 successes?
I mean, from a storyline point of view, they just give the storyteller a reason to like make a more positive or a more negative outcome from what happens, whatever that
and
essentially means.
And ones cancel out normal successes, or do they cancel out great successes?
Well, I've been counseling them because 1 is a botch and 10 is a critical success, so I've just been neutralizing them, like +1, -1, and then whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you got 8, 8, 10.
Okay, so you very accurately and rapidly slash your sharp claws across his throat, which immediately results in a fountain of red arterial blood.
Let me see how much damage I'm dealing. So I'm doing the 2 plus the oh god, what is it? It's my strength and
melee, I believe, although arguably brawl could also be used since you're just using your quote-unquote bare hands.
Yeah, no, it is brawl for bare hands. So 5,
Tiger Claw Kung Fu,
6,
basically.
7, 8. So it's 8 plus 2, so it's 10. All right, let me roll this real quick. Sorry.
Unarmed combat is dexterity plus brawl.
So I have dealt. If he doesn't soak it, I'm dealing 7 damage directly to him, which is aggravated.
Right. So this individual spurts blood out of the carotid artery, which you sever with your claws, and within it, eyes go wide in disbelief, and he kind of grabs at his throat with both hands, and then sinks to his knees and falls over. It's like blood is like running down the stairs, leading up to the door. And the
One
man
shot.
Is, bled out.
I like my claws.
Yeah, they're pretty strong. So you have now killed this individual. He comes back around from the side of the building as this occurs.
I'm assuming he died silently because the gun failed to go off, and I told him to be silent.
Yeah, the gun did not fire, and he did not cry out before you slit his throat, so you killed him silently, or at least very nearly to silently. He made some gurgling noises.
I'm going to kind of kick him off of the porch or whatever it is, kind of out of the way, and I'll let myself in as if I was let in.
Well, you attempt to open the door, which is like a very solid metal-looking door, and it is locked from the inside.
All right. Well, what's it going to take to kick it down? Will we roll on that?
I mean,
Or
you
was
have
it-
to roll like
Or
strength
actually, I mean,
plus
did
prudence,
Lucy,
but-
Lucy come back around? Is that what you said?
Yeah, Lucy came back around from the side.
All right. Let's read. Let me think here. Lucy, did you see anything interesting?
There's definitely people inside. I could hear some people around the back talking. So
This
we
door
can-
appears to be locked. Is there a better way in by chance?
I mean, the only way that we're getting in is most likely through the back and confronting the people back there. But if we go in that way, it might scare off whomever's inside the house.
There are also windows, so there's front windows, but they're covered by blackout blinds.
Right. And she tells him about the windows, but they are covered.
Should we go around the back? Maybe Lucy could stay out front in case anybody gets out.
I'll stay out front as well.
Uh,
All right, Northman. How do you feel about rolling with me?
Sure. And I'm just gonna start sneaking, which is dexterity plus stealth. So that's
And let me
1,
check
3,
the dead guy's
4.
body for key or anything else. You said the door was locked, right?
Yeah, the door was locked, so Callan pushes the body off the deck, the front patio space. Shad goes through the pockets, and you find a wallet, which has got quite a lot of bills in it. It's like fairly thick with bills, $20 bills. You also do find a key ring with 3 different keys on them, one big one medium one small one, as well as a cell phone.
I pocket everything, and then I'm going to try to see which key fits the lock.
All right. It only takes you 3 tries or less to figure out that it is the large key that indeed fits into the metal lock.
All right, well, I'll wait for the rest of the team to get into position.
What's the sneak difficulty? Whatever.
Well, are you trying to sneak, or are you going to the
Stealth
front
or
door?
Yeah, if Lucy went around that way, kind of sneaky, then maybe I should too.
So the difficulty, it says here in the rules, it's generally 6, and if you're sneaking past someone, it is rolled. It's a contest, basically, resisted action against their perception and alertness.
Right.
But yeah, if you're just regularly sneaking, you roll your dexterity and stealth versus 6.
All right, I got critical success, which counts as one success.
But again, are you trying to sneak around the back, or are you going to
Yeah,
go through
yeah.
the front
I'm
door
gonna-
with the key?
I want to sneak around the back with a gun at like
Okay.
low ready, like not obviously drawing on anybody or anything. Just kinda
Are you
like
going by yourself, or are you? Or
I think
Yeah, I'm
think
going with
Nash
them.
going
Let
with
me roll my pool. I got 3 successes.
Mhm. Okay, so Nola rolled 669, and Kalen rolled 10. So crouching down a little bit, staying close to the shadows on the side of the house. The two of you sneak around the back. Lucy, what's your character doing? You're staying in the front?
I'm up front, yeah, and
Yeah,
I
okay.
still have the Glock with me that I did pull off one of the dead bodies.
Okay. So anyways, as Nash and Callan sneak around the side, just like Lucy, you hear conversation, as well as, you can smell tobacco, and you can hear the sound of like a bottle being put down on like a glass table. So you can tell that there's people around the corner, and you're currently like crouched up against the wall with the corner right there. So if you want, you can look around the corner. Okay. In which case, you take a little peek around the corner, and you see 2 people sitting on patio chairs with beers on a table, right? And they're both dressed in the same attire as the person in the front door. Again, the same kind of build, heavy, strong build, like they're taking steroids or working out a lot. And one of them has a very badly burned face. Like you can see that the whole 3/4 of his face is like scarred up.
Mhm. Yeah, I'll walk around the corner.
Just walk right out there.
Yeah, I was just like,
Okay.
oh, it feels
So-
much better. I had to relieve myself after all the drinking.
Okay, so as you walk around the corner, both of them rapidly get to their feet and immediately draw firearms and point them in your direction. And then they go like, whoa, stop right there. Who the fuck are you? And how'd you get in here?
Yeah, I was just around the corner taking a piss. I had to relieve myself after drinking. I was inside, but went out the front, and your buddy up front seemed to be busy with somebody else, so I let myself back around the back.
He says, well, I heard about what happened on the docks, and some people were involved that match your description, so don't you take another step forward or I'll fill you full of so many holes. You'll bleed out and faster than you can say fuck.
As soon as I hear any loud noises or aggression from the back, I'm going to do something, so let me know when that occurs.
Well, you can hear the raised voices of the people telling him to freeze and not move.
All right, I'm gonna quickly go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna just take the gun that I had. If it's still kind of low ready but not super visible, I'm just gonna kind of toss it backwards towards Nash.
You're tossing your gun to Nash?
Yeah, backwards. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you
I've
throw
got
your
claws, and I just kind of sidestep it.
So you throw your gun
I ain't messing with no gun.
over your shoulder. Okay, and it lands on the ground, I guess. Shad, you said you wanted to take an action? No?
Chad.
Give me 2 minutes. You guys keep going.
Okay. Well, regardless, they keep their weapons.
Can I try to
trained on you.
mesmerize the one with the burnt face?
Is that one of your disciplines?
Yeah, it's
Is it
under
part
the-
of Dominate?
Yes, it is. It's the second level of Dominate.
Okay.
It says, with this power, a vampire can verbally implant a false thought or a hypnotic suggestion in a subconscious mind. And then
Okay.
both kindred and target must be free from distraction. But I assume the guy's looking right at me, so I don't think he's very distracted.
Yeah, he is looking right at you. You can attempt to roll your discipline.
Alright.
I'm going to assume that there is a...
It's manipulation plus leadership. And, let's see.
I'm going to say this guy has a willpower of 5, which I believe is in the middle of the road.
Okay, at 5 successes or greater, the vampire can implant nearly any sort of command, no matter how strong the kindred's will. His command cannot force the subject to harm herself directly or defy her innate nature. Okay, let's just make a leadership and manipulation. Leadership. 2. Leadership. 5. Difficulty 7, is that what you said?
I guess it's supposed to be 6.
I think it's I think it may be like a contested. Let me see.
Yeah, I rolled his willpower check. Just roll your
Okay.
your roll.
That's 6. All right, let's just. No, 0 successes. Not going to be able.
All
to
right, so you make and maintain eye contact and attempt to exert a mesmerizing or hypnotic influence over the individual with a burned face. However, his will is too strong or yours is too distracted, and it fails to take effect on him. It just kind of narrows his gaze and solidifies his aim a little bit. So the two of them are keeping their pistols trained on you with wary eyes, and they go, "We heard about what happened on the docks, and we've heard the rumors. We know that you guys are either Sabat or maybe Camarilla lapdogs, but either way, this territory is closed off to everybody except the Bruja. Don't play the innocent game with me."
I'll say, whoa. No. If you were at the docks, I'm sure you've heard that me and my companion are anti-tribute of the Camarilla.
He says, "Well,
I've heard that you're anarchists here. I'm assuming other anarchists may be welcome."
Anarchs, he says. "Yeah, we don't respect the Camarilla. We're not their lapdogs. We don't take orders from them anymore. And we slipped the chains they tried to put around our necks, and we call the shots in this part of the city. They're strong enough to come back and take it, let them try, but we've seen weakness, and this was the right time. But we're not friends of the Sabat either. So you call yourself anti-tribute, we're trying to chase those fucks off our territory too.
Right, well,
I don't
maybe
know who you are, but you ain't any friend of mine, brother."
Oh, right. Maybe I misspoke, but simply what I mean to say is the power struggle is quite obvious, and the Camarilla is losing their touch. I don't think that I can maintain a loyalty to them. So you and I are probably not too far apart. on our loyalties at this moment. Perhaps there is room for company in your group here.
He looks at you skeptically, like he's considering what you're saying, and he's like, there have been a few defectors, but you don't look like the kind of kindred we usually get joining our side. You've got the look of some kind of blue blood about you. My guess is you've been sent here by the prince on some kind of Camarilla business, and as far as I'm concerned, that's meddling in our bourgeois affairs. So I'm going to give you one chance, brother. Turn around and walk away. I don't know who sent you here, but it ain't worth your life.
Well, very well then. If it's going to be like that, I'll leave peacefully for now. But I don't know how you get along. Simply assuming, based on appearances, who may or may not be useful to you. But if that's your wish, then
says
farewell.
three full patch brothers died tonight, and all of a sudden someone I don't know walks up on my backyard. You'll forgive me if I'm a little bit suspicious right now, but I ain't taking any chances. He says, and by the way, if you know the motherfucker who did this to my face, you can tell him from me. I'm coming from him, and I'm going to send him straight to hell.
Very good, very good. I'm just gonna back around the corner, kind of like with my hands up in the air, like, oh, okay. Like, back around the corner to where I can no longer be seen, and kind of let Nash know they've got guns drawn as I move back to the front to warn Shad.
All right, well, I pick up the gun and hand it to you.
And you hear a door open and close from around the corner as you go around the corner.
Okay.
Shad
I'll
or
make
Lucy.
Yep.
I'm waiting for Shad to open the
Yeah.
door. 'Cause
That's
so.
okay. So we're still with Nash and Callan.
All right,
well,
let me
I'll
get
just
a
make my way
mental
to the
image.
front.
So I'm on the side of the building with Callan, and there's a bunch of people. The one guy that what's his face burned that one time in the face is in the back there, and they all got guns.
Well, there was two people in the back that had guns drawn. One of them was the guy that Nash named Dale, rather, that Shad burned. And you killed the guy who's in the front, and you don't know who else may or may not be inside the building. The front door is like reinforced metal. You haven't checked out the back door, but you just heard it open and close.
Okay, I'm just gonna go to the front. I'm gonna keep sneaking up there.
And the gun that you handed me, I'm just gonna kind of look at you funny, and I'm gonna throw it out toward the street or something because I don't use guns whatsoever, and I'm gonna pull my sword out.
Yeah, I just show when you do that. I just like show you my claws.
Yeah.
Like I can't really, shoot a gun
I'll just-
really well.
yeah. I'll just give you a nice knowing nod.
As you guys are sort of in the front, or at least those of you who are in the front, you notice like the corner of the black blinds like peek back and someone look out for a second, and then like you hear like a curse, and then like you see the blind go cover the window again.
I'm gonna open the door and cast Inferno inside of the house.
Okay, so you open the door, and as soon as you open the door, there's like a frenzy of activity. And two people who are sitting in like a living room area in front of like a television with a table on which is a firearm as well as some drugs and some baggies. And the two people who are at the table are sitting there jump to their feet, and again, both of them are like reaching for firearms. Meanwhile, you are trying to channel your vitae into the occult thaumaturgical path of fire. You
One
cast
great
an Inferno.
success. I'm just putting it
Sorry?
right in front of me, and I just open the door and notice these things, and quickly will a raging inferno right inside of the door, and then close it back shut and start walking slowly to the back where our friends just went.
Okay, did you roll your thaumaturgy?
Yeah,
Did you succeed?
one great success.
Alright, so you make an occult gesture with your hands and cast a flamethrower-like bonfire of flame onto the table and the carpets and the furniture, much of which begins burning. And the people cry out in a mixture of pain and anger and surprise, but you close the door and you hear bullets firing and hitting the inside of the door that you just closed. And you hear continued like cursing and like yelling from inside the house as you walk around the side to the back.
Yep. That's where
Alright.
everyone else is, right?
Well, Lucy's in front with you, and they're around the side, I guess. So anyways, you go around the side of the building and rendezvous with Nash and Callan, and you continue to hear cursing and like commotion from inside the house.
I'll say,
You go to
I'll say, Shad, I think your man's back here. He's the one with the burnt face.
Oh, good. I say as I begin to increase my dexterity and stamina with blood points.
I'll just say, be careful, they have weapons drawn. And
So you hear 3 gunshots and the sound of breaking glass from the front, as well as the sound of the door opening and footsteps coming out from the back. So you guys are now at the side.
Yeah, I'm gonna increase my strength by 2 as well.
Okay, so you guys
what's the
use-
how do we do that, guys? What do we do?
You use a blood point. If you're out of combat, you can do it more in a scene, but if you're in combat, you can only do it once per turn, or whatever it says your generation is.
How many blood points for dex? Like,
If you're
1 per dex, 1 per pit.
okay,
yeah,
I'm gonna increase
yeah.
my.
So you can raise it up to your your generation level -1. So your 8th generation. That means you can raise any skill to 7.
Oh,
And you can raise it above this, even up to 10, and it will only last for 3 rounds. You can only increase it by an amount relative to your generation, which for you, if you're 8th generation like me, you can have 3 in any turn, but it still costs 3 blood points to raise it 3. 1 blood point per pip.
cool. I'll use 3, and I'm gonna raise my. I'm gonna get 5 dex total.
Okay, so everybody keep track of your own stat boosts and blood point expenditures, but you use your Cana Vitae to strengthen your natural physical aptitudes. In any case, as you're doing this, someone comes around the corner from the front, cocking a shotgun, like a single-shot shotgun with the pump action. And he's kind of burning on the shoulders of his jacket, and some of his hair is like on fire, and there's like smoke coming off of him. But he's got like a crazy look in his eyes, and he like aims a shotgun at you. So I guess you guys can roll initiative. At the same time, 2 people come running around the corner from the back, having exited out the back door of the building to escape the fire. One of them you recognize by his burnt face is Dale. The other one you do not recognize, but judging by his attire, is some kind of companion or ally of Dale. And these guys are both still wielding pistols. So there are now 3 assailants. You're trapped in between them, 2 from the back, 1 from the front. And let's all roll initiative.
Okay, Lucy, roll.
Rolling.
Okay.
Nice. Great.
Okay, so I'm rolling 3d10 for the initiative of these guys. The difficulty I'm putting in is 6, I guess, but... And then it's plus wits plus dex. Is that it?
There's an ability to just use slash dice initiative, and then you put in their wits plus.
It's a 1d10. There's no dice
Mhm.
pool. It's a 1d10 plus their dex and
Right.
Wits.
So they rolled, their initiatives that they rolled are 6, 9, and 6. And then you add
Oh, I
what
see.
to it again?
dex and wits.
Alright. Okay. So I'm going to say that the 2 guys with pistols are the guys who rolled the 6, and the guy with the shotgun is the one who rolled the 9. And I'm going to say that he has an average dexterity of 2 and an average wits of 2, which would put his initiative roll at 13.
I got 21. Who got the second highest?
I think I did. I got 14.
Yeah, and then I had 12. Let's write this out real quick.
I'll
Shotgun
put
guys
here
at 13.
Dale. I'm going to say it has a dexterity of 4 and a wits of 3. So his is going to be 7 plus 6, which is 13 as well, right?
Yep.
And then the last individual we're going to say has an average dex of 2 and wits of 2, just like the first guy. So he therefore gets 10. Pistol 10. So Dale at 13 and his companion from the back door both have pistols, and their initiative rolls were 13 and 10. The guy with the shotgun had 13. So that means, thank you, that Shad will make his move first.
I look at Dale and I laugh as I look at him dead in the eyes and say, "Oh, you're not looking very well. Don't worry, this time you won't escape." And I'm going to try to do another Inferno, but this one, like, behind him, that would both damage him and cut off his path. If he wants to run away, he has to, like, go through us.
Alright. And as he sees you, he, like, snarls and spits and, like, bares his fangs at you. And there's, like, a frenzied look in his eye of just, like, pure hatred and rage. His companion looks, like, a little bit frightened, but also has, like, a grim set in his mouth. So you only got one success, so you're not able...
How far away is he from me, about?
Approximately 10 feet away from you or less. Now, you're able to... You try to cast the fire behind him to cut off his route of escape, but instead the fire proceeds from your hands and hits him directly and doesn't go behind him, but it only catches him on, you know, like the right side of his body, basically. So I guess he lights on fire, I guess. Kindred are flammable. Yeah. So he's going to have to roll like a courage check or whatever, which I think is just like 1d10 plus composure or something like that.
Yeah.
Let me check. I just posted it too. They roll a courage roll. I think it's just courage.
Well, he rolled a 2, so I'm going to assume he failed his courage roll. So perhaps because of his past experience with your occult fire, perhaps because of Kindred's natural fear of flames, he panics and begins like flailing at the fire, and then turns and like runs back a few steps like past his other guy, and then like drops on the ground and starts like rolling around trying to extinguish the fire.
He also takes 3 points of, I think, unsoakable aggravated damage. Let me check on that.
Yeah, well, this guy is a Bourgeois vampire with a fortitude of 2, so he gets to roll 2 dice in order to soak even aggravated damage.
Oh, because he has...
He has the discipline of fortitude, yes.
Okay.
It's a Bourgeois discipline, and he has it. I guess we'll assume the difficulty of soaking fire is 7, being harder than... Oh, it won't. Oh, shit. Count 2. Right, okay. I'm just using the regular dice spot. Okay, so whatever. He fails to soak the damage anyway, even with his fortitude. So he takes 3 points of burning damage or aggravated damage as he's rolling around. However, he does manage to extinguish the fire by doing so. So the next step...
He's rolling on the ground?
He stopped, dropped, and rolled, yeah. He ran back a little bit, and then he stopped, dropped, and rolled behind his buddy. So next up is Callan. So you currently have one guy with a shotgun aimed at you on one side, and a guy with a pistol aimed at you on the other side.
Okay, well I'm gonna... Let's see here. Where's weapon strike there? Dex plus... Alright, I'm gonna run to the guy who's blocking him, I guess, with my sword out, and I'm gonna try to make an attack at him. I'm looking to cleave him, kind of like any other guy, kind of like down the collarbone towards mid-mass from the top down.
And sorry, you're attacking pistol guy or shotgun guy?
Whoever's got the pistol in the back.
Okay.
So Dex plus melee. Hey, Nash, do I add the strength to the dice pool, or is that for just the damage? That's just the damage, right? For the weapon? Yeah, it's just the weapon. Roll this again. Difficulty is 6 still?
Yeah, I guess so. He's going to attempt to dodge, but you can roll to hit first.
6 plus melee. And 5, so 10, 7, or 6. Oops, I did that wrong. But
which guy had dodge?
Sorry, that I put the difficulty wrong, so it really would have been 2 great successes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 additional successes, so 7 total.
All right. Well, this guy's going to attempt to dodge because you're using a sword, right?
That's right.
And it's like a long sword or something.
Yeah, we'll just say. Well, I mean, it's like a medium-length sword, like not a short sword, but not quite like not a two-handed cleaver necessarily, you know.
And what's the difficulty on a dodge roll? Does anyone know?
Dodge is Dex plus athletics.
Right.
And I would like to point out
normal.
I would like to point out, dodge is an action in itself, so like that is his action.
Yeah, well, because someone's swinging a sword at him, feels
This
like he
is
has no
two.
choice but to attempt to dodge, so he's going to do that. But does it have a default difficulty? Is my question.
It's just
Yeah,
normal.
it's normal. It's 6.
Okay, so we're going to say he's got 3 in dexterity and 3 in like brawl or whatever. So 1 critical success, 1 critical failure, 2 successes. So if he rolled 2 successes on dodge and you rolled all those on hits, then you definitely still hit him.
But you
But we'll
take
just say-
the difference out in the damage.
Right,
Okay.
so minus 3. So yeah, you do 1d10 plus 2 minus 3.
So like 5, essentially.
So what?
Five
All right,
damage?
sorry. When I roll my damage, I do my strength plus my weapon modifier, and then I add my successes. Right? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so add 2 successes, except that you actually rolled 2 critical successes. So roll
Yeah, and
add-
actually, the difficulty was 6, and I put 7, so it's like it's 9 total, basically, or whatever.
Yeah. All right, and you
So-
rolled for damage already? Or-
Not yet. So strength
Okay.
is 5 plus 2, so 7, and difficulty is 6. So 2 successes plus the other 9, so 11 damage. Then you offset
Alright.
the 2 dodges, so 9
And he
total.
can't soak this damage because he's not a kindred. So you cut him in half from the collarbone to the hip and split him in 2, and he flops into 2 gory piles on the ground.
Cool. Once again, Callan's gonna go, yes!
So then, if we're going through the initiative, we will let the shotgun guy go next. So he is going to aim at Kalen because he just saw Kalen cut his buddy in half with the sword. Well, actually, no,
coming
he's
from the
closer.
front, right?
He's closer to Shad, and he just saw Shad throw fire at his buddy there. So he's going to fire a shotgun at Shad. So he's going to have, let's say, a dexterity of 2, but a firearms of 3. So we're going to give him 5 to his pool because he's a criminal. He has armed robber.
So I should
So he
have
doesn't-
probably announced this before, but you can do 2 actions in a turn, and the mechanic is you have to use whichever dice pool is lower. And I
Okay.
don't know if it affects the DC, so if I can do anything like a dodge, I'll use my lower dice pool
Well,
that I rolled for
this guy
thaumaturgy.
actually only rolled 1 success and 1 critical failure, so he kind of panics because he tries to kind of waver between the 2 people trying to decide which is the bigger threat, and then he ends up shooting somewhere in the middle and blowing a big hole out of the plaster on the side of the house. He doesn't hit anybody. That brings us to Dale. Dale is lying on his back, right? He's just been doing stop, drop, and roll, but from a prone position on the ground, he aims his gun and fires at Callan, who just cut his buddy in half. So this guy, I'm going to say, has a dexterity of 3 and a firearms of 4. So I'm going to give him a dice pool of 7, which means, because this guy's a vampire, by the way, you know this already. Dice roll, pool 7, difficulty 6, regular shot, center mass.
Nice.
So 3 critical failures, 1 critical success. So he gets a hit, I guess, or no?
One
He has
success. One
he has
success.
3 critical failures, which cancel 3 successes. He gets 1 success, so he kind of wings you in the arm, the left arm. So he rolls 1d10, I think, for damage. Is that correct?
No,
And then-
dude.
Hey,
No, 1d10 for damage. If he rolls a 10, your character's dead.
no,
I
no.
don't think that's
This
right.
was, he just rolled the hit. No, yeah, right. So how
Yes,
does the damage
yeah.
work then?
He has to roll whatever the weapon modifier is plus his whatever relevant skill it is. So like,
And you said it was what weapon?
Well, he has a pistol.
you got a pistol or something.
Yeah, we're just going to
Didn't you
consider
say
it a
shotgun
regular.
earlier?
No, it's a
The
front guy.
shotgun guy already missed his shot. This is Dale.
Okay,
Dale,
the pistol
Dale
is
shot-
4 damage. Pistol is 4 damage plus whatever extra successes he had.
which is none because he only got 1 success.
Yeah,
so
so
he's
then
just
you
simply
roll
going to roll
4.
4d10. Thank you. Sorry to the listeners, we're still learning as we go.
Four
least I
dice
am.
pool against 6, right? And difficulty of 6.
So he gets 3 points of damage. It is
Alright,
blunt
cool.
damage to your kindred physiology, so the shot hits you, I guess we'll say, in the pectoral muscle on the left side and tears into your body and goes out the other side, making an exit wound.
Well, let me try to soak real quick. See if I can.
Right.
You said it's fortitude and stamina, or
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you're going to try and soak 3 damage.
right? Yeah. So 4, 5. 4. Difficulty 6. Oh, none. No successes.
Okay. And a critical failure. So I'm going to rule that you take an additional point of damage. So you take 4 points of blunt damage, which reduces you to what? Wounded or maimed or something?
I have no clue. what the
You can't botch soak rolls, by the way. But yeah, he just takes regular damage.
All right. Well, it's still 4 damage, I guess. Or 3 damage.
What's max hit points? 10.
Look at your character sheet where it says health. The first damage that you take makes you bruised. The next is hurt. The next is injured. So you actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 health. Like everybody
Yeah,
does.
so you took 3 points of blunt damage, and you mark that down on your little chart, and then it'll have a word like injured, wounded, or something like that, and it'll indicate the negative debuff on your rolls from being hurt until you heal. So, in any case, the shot tears through your pectoral and exits your body out the back of your shoulder blade, but because you don't have any organs that can be punctured, it's not as harmful to you as it would have been to a mortal.
I'll
So that
scream.
means so that is, well, last guy is dead, so Lucy's next. So there's one opponent. No, there's two opponents left alive. The guy with the shotgun and the guy with the pistol.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and disarm the guy with the shotgun.
If you want, you could spend blood points to increase your chances of success by raising the relevant stats, like the other guys did. You don't have to, but
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna go for it.
okay. So that's a dexterity plus brawl, I think.
Oh, yeah. Something like that. What's the difficulty?
What were we calling it before for disarm?
Disarm
It's
is
Dex
Dex
plus melee, and difficulty is
Difficulty
plus
is
1.
+1.
So 7.
Dex plus melee, difficulty plus 1. Okay, so you attempt to grab the shotgun from the guy, but only succeed in like grabbing onto the barrel of it and engaging in like a quick like kind of fight over it, and then he manages to pull it away from you out of your hands and like takes like a step back. So that means we.
I was just
Go
going to
ahead.
say, that's going on, and he's grappling with her and the shotgun. I think it's my turn, right?
Yeah, for some reason you're not on this list.
Yeah, I had a 12, though, so I'm after...
Okay,
oh, yeah.
you should-
Yeah, my turn got skipped, actually. Yeah, so I'm
Yeah,
just going to
you're
go up,
after me.
and that guy with the shotgun messing with Lucy, I'm just going to go after him.
with your claws.
Oh, yeah, bud.
All right, you know how to roll your attack.
Okay, 4 successes. Let me roll the dice, which is
You get
5,
3
6
successes
right
though,
now.
because of the one. But yeah,
It automatically counts it. It's counting it. Yeah, because if you look 1, 2, 3,
right.
4,
yeah.
5. Yeah, it's 4 successes. Yeah, it counts it.
It's funny how
Alright,
it says
so-
sucks.
Yeah, success. It sucks. All right, where was I? I'm rolling the 5, the 6 damage, and at difficulty 6. So let's see how much damage it do. 2 aggravated damage on that bad boy.
+3, right?
Why would it bleed plus 3?
For your extra hit
Your additional
rolls,
successes.
or does it not work that way?
2 damage
Oh,
plus,
yeah.
plus
Okay.
your 3.
Okay. Yeah. It should have been that. Let me roll them too, if you don't mind. So the other 3 damage. Yeah. No, and I was thinking that, and then I forgot like immediately. So another extra 2 more damage. So 4 damage, aggravated damage on him.
All right. So what does that put him on the scale you guys have on your character sheets?
He will be at 1, 2, 3, 4. He's down 4.
Yeah.
He's at wounded.
Okay, so he starts bleeding, thick trickle of viscous red blood from the deep gouge that you carved across his chest. And it appears that his courage breaks and he turns and is attempting to flee the scene. Meanwhile, Dale is trying to get back to his feet, but the initiative passes back to Shad. I think.
Huh? What? What's going on? Whose turn is it?
Your turn
It's
again.
your turn again, right?
And Dale's on the ground like a little baby.
Dale
took
just shot
a
me
shot
from
a prone position, and he shot Kalen.
Okay.
And he hurt him, actually.
And his buddy's
Okay.
cut in half,
How
so-
far away from me is he?
You haven't moved any closer to him, and he hasn't moved any farther away. He took about 3 further steps before he stopped, dropped, and rolled. So he's still, about 10 to 13 feet away from you.
All right. Well, I'll close the distance and crouch down next to him and say good night, and then I'm gonna bonfire his behind.
Okay, flamethrower roll.
Yeah, this is lower DC.
Your guy's basically just a dude with a flamethrower.
Cleaning up the mess.
Nice.
5 successes. One of them is a great success.
Alright, so you drop a bonfire directly on him, and he had already taken, I think, 3 points of aggravated damage.
Yeah. Plus, by the way, this damage takes weeks or months to heal from, and it's been 3 days. So. FYI.
Maybe he had means you're not aware of.
Maybe.
Maybe
Wait.
his fortitude discipline allowed him to heal quicker.
Maybe.
Aggravated
Maybe he has-
damage, they can use a bunch of blood
So-
points to heal that, 5 blood points per aggravated, I think.
So if for the storyteller, if he starts to burn and it's gonna incinerate him, I would like to take an action before he's totally a crisp, if possible.
Well, what are you going to try and do?
I want to behead him so we've got some proof.
Okay. Well, in any case, the bonfire drops directly on him from your occult spell from your hands, as though you had emptied a bucket full of fire, liquid napalm onto him, and he begins screaming in this horrible, high-pitched, hissing wail and thrashing back and forth. If you want to try and attempt to decapitate him, well, you don't have to. He burns to death, and you chop off his charred, crisped head. But his face is completely black, and all the hair is burned off. So, other than dental records, you wouldn't be able to identify this person. But
Okay.
meanwhile, the other guy is still turning and running away as fast as he can from this scene of horror.
I just say, woo, you guys know how to party.
So in any case, you have now, cut one guy in half, burned the other one to death, and the third one has turned and run away. And you guys are outside of a burning building, which is now fully on fire, as the fire that Shad put inside is spread, and is now the whole building's on fire. And you start to hear fire hydrant or fire sirens, fire truck sirens in the distance.
I'm gonna get to my chopper.
Can I
Same.
feed on the one that I've got cut in half?
Yeah, most of the blood is drained out by now, because, so you can maybe get 1 point of blood left, but in reality, it's all the blood's leaked out.
All right, I'll take what I can get. That's fine.
You quickly bend and drain what remains of the vitae in the half of a human body and manage to extract a blood point.
I'll run after Lucy and hop back on the bike before the sirens arrive.
Yeah, and I'll do the same for Ash.
All right, so you jump on the back of the motorcycles and tear off into the night, taking advantage of the heavy rain and chaotic situation to escape before the fire trucks show up. Which way are you guys headed?
Should we go toward the prince?
Ooh, yeah, great idea. Let's go.
Wonder what Shad thinks.
Oh.
Well, I'm on the bike with
Right.
Nash, and I'm just you go on ahead. I'm gonna go hunt. Introduce yourself to the prince, and we'll meet back up later at Lucy's shop.
No, I want to hunt too. The adrenaline's pumping, by the way.
I'll just say to Lucy, looks like our compatriots are slowing down. We might want to stay with them. Sheriff doesn't want us to be separated.
No, I must insist. It's very important that vampires in the Camarilla introduce themselves to the prince immediately. For this instance, you'll be coming with the prize in hand. It will be a great ingratiation. I'm sure he'll have much blood for you. I have other matters to attend to.
You're talking me into it. All right. Well, I'm gonna follow Lucy.
Maybe we should switch. Should we switch bikes?
Talon, how much damage did you take?
Should I ride with Nash?
Yeah, get the fuck off my bike.
I took 4.
So, just use 4 blood points to heal it.
Okay. I'm gonna do that, storyteller. I'm gonna use 4 points of blood.
All right, you
heal
feel
myself.
a tingling sensation go
Back
through
to-
your
I'm at-
body as
yeah,
your flesh knits itself back together.
Yeah, if it's like
Nice.
dashing and stuff, you can heal it over time. But like, yeah, might as well just heal it up.
Yeah, I got shot through the chest, out the back. So
Oh yeah.
So what's the deal? You guys are
Should I-
dividing into 2 parties and going
Should-
to 2 different places?
maybe I should ride with Nash.
No, I'm bouncing, hunting.
I drop Shad off
and-
wherever.
Yeah, I just hop off the bike, like.
And
there's
I'm not-
no reason
I'm not
for the
letting
other party
Callan
to,
get
like,
on me.
Hear us talking or something. I just like hop off, tell the new guy to go on ahead, and then go hunting.
All right, so you
Get
jump
back
off
up
the
at
bike at a
The
red light.
crystal shop.
You jump off the bike at a red light and begin walking into the night, seeking prey.
And I'll send a text message to the sheriff. Call me. We need to meet. Urgent.
You send a text message to the sheriff?
Yeah.
Okay.
I go ahead and lead the way to whatever the building is called where the prince is at.
I'm
The
following,
legislative building.
Yes.
but
Yeah.
a lot of times I'm driving ahead of you, and then I'm waiting for you. I'm like doing spinning in circles while I wait for you to catch up.
So the remaining 3 of you travel together on your motorcycles to the Cascadia Legislative Building, which is the center of government of both kindred and kind society in the province of Cascadia or whatever. And anyways, it doesn't take you too long to get there. Everything in the city is sort of centrally organized, and the legislative building is right in the middle of everything, very center of the city. And it's a very big, imposing building with big stone pillars and a big facade on it, and a big gold statue on top, and crazy carvings and statues of sphinxes and gargoyles and medusas and different things on it. But anyways, you approach the side entrance, which is kind of concealed from the public by other buildings, and which is reserved for after-hours traffic in and out of the building and into the prince's chambers.
Very good. I'll introduce. I'll just greet the prince. Prince, very good to see you again. Sorry to interrupt you this evening. I know it's getting late. Sun will be up
So I'll
soon.
just quickly storytell, and as always, there's security guards at the door wearing vests. They're both wearing turbans, and they both seem to have olive brown complexion, short, well-maintained beards. They open the door as you approach, and silently indicate that you can enter. You go up a flight of stairs to the prince's chamber, which again is like a super opulently well-furnished place, and as always the prince is standing on sort of an elevated dais or platform, looking down over like a banister at the people who come to petition him. And there's various retainers and courtesans lounging around on the lower level where you guys are, but you're admitted into the prince's chambers, all of the 3 of you together.
I walk
So-
forward. This is Nash Westergaard. He's come to the city. We thought it'd be a good idea for him to meet you.
I don't have claws right now, but I extend my hand.
I'll
Well,
say,
he's above you, so he can't shake your hand because he's
Oh,
up
okay,
on like
okay.
an elevated, raised platform above you, looking down.
I'll say, yes, Prince. Nash kindly joined us in our excursion to the north of the city to address the Bruja. He helped us defeat 3 of their ghouls, the bikers, that we ran into, as well as we did encounter at the drug house where Lucy found Sid, the changeling, which we've discovered recently, seemingly from the dream activity he's been able to perform. He helped us defeat these Bruja, as well as Dale, who, as far as we've been made aware by Shad, was the seeming leader of the small group that he interacted with. He wanted to make acquaintances with you, since he's new to the city, and he's been quite helpful with us and serving in the Camarilla's interests, seemingly. I believe he is a gangrel. Is that right? I'll look at Nash.
I nod.
And I'll just wait to see if the prince has anything to say.
So the prince looks down at you and smiles. He has like perfectly white teeth. He's like a very handsome looking man, wearing his purple turban as usual. It's like immaculate suit. He smiles. He says, "Oh, Mrs. Fairbrook and Mr. Clark, always a pleasure to see you both. I have received reports of your activities over the last 24 hours, and I am glad that you have brought this new kindred. He has arrived at an auspicious time, certainly a portentous time, as we need all the assistance we can get in the ongoing escalating conflicts within Cascadia City." And he sort of pauses, and as though thinking how to phrase what he's going to say diplomatically, and he says, "On the one hand, the Bruja made their own bed and decided to turn anarch, turning traitor and biting the hand that feeds them. It was necessary for the Camarilla to make a show of force, and you've certainly done that. On the other hand, the additional bloodshed in public places and the multiple fires and murders that have been committed have only increased scrutiny and public unease, and the kind and kindred society is becoming agitated. On the one hand, if a war must be fought, then we will fight it and win it, as we always have. On the other hand, the more we agitate the city, the more the Sabbat and the Anarchs thrive. Chaos is their bread and butter. Their whole goal is to undermine kindred society and make us look weak or like we're losing control. Once they do that, the easily influenced younger vampires start to follow them, and pretty soon they're radicalized one way or the other by the Sabbat or the Anarchs. Nevertheless, I appreciate the service that you've rendered onto the Camarilla in removing at least one or two thorns from our side. Nevertheless, the Anarchs are, unfortunately, probably the least of our problems. A much greater concern is growing reports of Sabbat activity, and our intelligence indicates that Sabbat activity is being orchestrated from Arcadia City to the west. As long as they are ensconced in that stronghold, they'll remain a continuous irritation at best and an increasing threat at worst. It may become necessary to, at some point, make maneuvers to interfere with their command and control structure. The best defense may be a good offense. Nevertheless, the situation in Camarilla City has stabilized with the removal of Michael Williams, the renegade vampire, and the extermination of some of the Bruja Anarchs from the North End. And your service is appreciated.
I'll say, Prince, would it be possible, since we must travel seemingly to Arcadia City to the west, in Sabbat territory, would it be possible that we assume covers or aliases, in motive at least, and possibly in rumor, that may favor our travels there? We have had opportunities presented, relayed to me through Shad, that his declaration of anarchy was more of an attempt to garner some goodwill, essentially, with the Sabbat in the presence of those who might be loyal to King Rat. And it seems as though he's been loyal to the Camarilla's interests as he's been with us. But since he knows that you've got the whip out and about, he was a little bit hesitant to show himself here. And I can't speak exactly to his motives, but they seem straightforward to me, if you understand my meaning. If we could get a blessing from you, though, to go undercover as anti-tribute, possibly, in pursuit of your interests, that would probably be the best path forward for both myself, Shad, and those you see with me.
I kind of look at Callan weird, like, how the hell are you roping me in this? But yeah, I just don't say anything.
Of course, he notices the stink eye from Nash, and he says, perhaps Nash would be happy simply to receive your welcome into the city. I know he just arrived and has been plenty useful already, and he can potentially make his own decision.
The prince looks at Nash for a brief moment and says, as my brother in Clan Ventru, I trust your discretion, and if he comes with your recommendation and that of Miss Fairbrook, then I will welcome into the city under the condition that you will be guarantors of his conduct well within Cascadia territory, and keep him under your observation, just because we can't trust just anybody who waltzes into Cascadia City at these dire times. Anybody could be a Sabbat undercover agent. And then he says, exactly as you propose. He says, what you're proposing is courageous to the point of being foolhardy. The Sabbat, although they are savages and truly, genuinely evil, they are no fools, and they are no naive caitiff or weak generation vampires. They are known as the Ancient Lords of the Night for good reason, and they will not simply accept a lie on its face. So be aware that what you propose is extremely dangerous, and once you leave Cascadia City, I can offer you little in the realm of protection and assistance. So if you're operating in Arcadia City, you will be operating very much behind enemy lines. Furthermore, although I understand your intention is auspiciously to go undercover, that would not justify you acting in any way that would be contrary to Camarilla interests. So you would truly be forced to walk a razor's edge.
Of course, self-preservation is quite important, wouldn't it be?
He says, nevertheless, there may be great value to what you propose. Obviously, they have many of agents infiltrating Cascadia City, and we need more eyes and ears in Arcadia to know what it is exactly the Sabbat are up to, what it has to do with the Children of Set, and what their plans are with regards to undermining or eroding our control over Cascadia City. In particular, we need information about the bishop and anyone close to the bishop.
Very good. Well, we have a means to approach the bishop, but it would be, as I said, under the guise of potentially seemingly being anti-tribute. But we, as far as I can say, speaking for myself, and the others here can make their own decisions, I would be willing to go. And if you'd like them to go as well, that's up to them.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Lucy kind of just nods her head in agreement because she's made a promise to Elizabeth to keep an eye on Shad, and if it means going to this extent, she's going to.
He says, the prince says, I admire your audacity and your commitment to serving the interests of the Ivory Tower, even at the risk of your own lives. However, I do question your judgment. After all, how can you be sure that a double agent isn't a triple agent, or a deception does not mask an even greater deception? He says, I cannot help but notice that, well, Nash and the two of you presented yourself to me in accordance with the etiquette of kindred society. Shad's absence speaks volumes. I understand that he is positioning himself as a false anti-tribute, but have you considered the possibility that he may not be what he seems to be? What is your assessment of his character? He seems to have become part of your little pack, and I've heard many whispers from many different quarters of the city, but I would value your opinion since you're here.
Personally, I think that whenever it's counted, though it may have served his interest as well, his actions seem to have served your interest, directly in most cases. Granted, a little over the top and maybe attracting some attention. However, I think that there is some merit to further observation of his actions ultimately, but I don't have reason to doubt that, at least for now, he serves your interests.
And I'm here for all this conversation. You guys openly talking about, Shad and how trustworthy he is.
Yep. You're
Okay,
there.
noted.
Yep. And he looks at you and with an inscrutable expression, a mercurial expression on his face, and says, "Thank you for your input. Please continue to keep me informed of any developments, anything might be relevant that you come across. However, if you intend to follow through on this plan, I recommend that you leave the borders of Cascadia City relatively promptly, as once rumors begin to circulate that you've become anti-tribu, other Camarilla vampires may take matters into their own hands to exterminate you in the same way that you have exterminated these anarchs over the last night."
Understood, and I presume that if it comes down to a question of a blood hunt, you might be able to delay that for some time.
He says, "I can probably suppress the situation for 24 to 48 hours, but beyond that point, anyone who's publicly declared against the Camarilla can no longer be seen within our territory without creating a further suspicion or embarrassment for the Ivory Tower."
We understand, and as I've said, as far as it goes here, we will be assuming that the anti-tribu is the case, but don't be alarmed about the things you hear unless you hear from me directly that something has gone awry.
He nods and says, "Noted." He says, "There's one more thing that I have to raise, though. I've heard from multiple sources that Shad has initiated multiple contacts with operatives of the Children of Set. And it's well known in Kindred Society that anyone who deals with the serpent tends to get themselves in deeper than they expect. So be on your guard and give us any information you can about Shad's ongoing potential interaction with the Children of Set and what his intentions may be, as we can't afford a relatively influential defector in the city at this time." And then
Understand.
he nods and dismisses you from the audience and turns and strolls away from the elevated podium thing.
As he's walking out, I ask him, "What's with all the gangrel in this town? I feel like a lone wolf."
He turns back after hearing you speak and comes back and looks at you and he says, "The gangrel in this town remain largely an unknown quantity. Cagliostro Claw, as far as we can tell, has still not made any maneuvers or moves outside of his traditional domain. Whether or not that will remain the case remains to be seen. As for his renegade child, Litu Levane, rumor has it that she is uncontrolled to the point of being insane, and nobody can really tell her motives. She seems to act in a chaotic and irrational way, but so far she's also maintained her traditional territory, so..."
I mutter underneath my breath, "Yeah, the pink-haired ones always are insane."
He says, there was another gangrel in the city, briefly, who also offered service, but he seems to have departed shortly before you arrive.
My ears perk up.
If I was a suspicious man, I might suspect that it's not a coincidence that the two of you arrived so quickly. It's not often that a gangrel just waltzes into Cascadia City, let alone two, in under a month.
You might be wiser than you let on, Prince.
He kind of looks at you with like a slightly miffed expression, but hides it relatively well. He says, "In any case, you may count on the fact that I will not be the only one watching your progress with interest. There are many eyes upon you, and not all of them are friendly. So remember, the night holds many terrors. Not all of them are kindred." And he leaves with that cryptic statement.
Hey.
Do you guys want to stop here? Do you want to keep playing?
Yeah, I'll just give him a slight nod of the head, and I'll just depart. Yeah.
Well, can I like go feed on my way home? Like I'm gonna go look for someone.
I feel like we should pause before we get too far without Dude Missile. But also,
I have like a story reason why he can be gone though. That'll work out fine, so it's okay.
And can't he teleport to you in Arcadia anyway?
Yeah.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll invite Nash back to my domain if he's interested. He seems famished, and I've got sources of feeding available. Ones that I'm about ready to be rid of, especially if we're going to be departing.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
And notably the fentanyl that I've purchased. There may be a specific reason for that, obviously. So.
All right.
Can I narrate what I've done as like a water drop exit here?
Mm-hmm.
So, Shad sits on a long bus whirring through the country that approaches a university campus with high battlements and stone arches descending into a library underground. He opens the door with a thick iron key and takes a step in, taking a deep breath and popping his frock. Finally, I've got some time with my notes.
You enter... Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to make a couple rolls here that we could talk about after the session.
Sure. I'll just describe that the library that you enter into stretches off in all directions as far as you can see. It's very dark, and it's lit only by candles that are set in the walls at like fairly broad distances, so it's quite dark and only lit by flickering candles. And you also, as you enter, comes from around the corner of one of the bookshelves, a figure that's about 3.5, 4 foot tall, but wearing like a cloak that completely like conceals its features. It's just like black shadows underneath the cowl, and it's holding like a candle in its hand. And anyway, that's what you see when you walk in, and then we'll fade to black on that. But yeah, you can do whatever you want after and tell me. So should we wrap it up here?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, thanks, guys. Appreciate you playing. I think this was like episode 13 or 14, so let's keep it going. I know Dacian's going to be joining the game soon with the werewolf character, so that's exciting. Stay tuned for that and all our episodes on the Temple Mount official YouTube channel, also our BitChute channel, and join the Temple Mount Discord server, and you can play the game too. Thank you, everybody. Good night. God bless. See you soon.